What happens in a map is we actually take a look at the overarching learning outcomes for a program, okay? And how that is then related to what is actually happening, okay? And let me give an example. I'm going to hand this out and then go to the next slide so we can talk a little bit about this. Mapping is done in a lot of different ways. This is one example, and it's what is called a crosswalk, and you can see that that's why that's so bad. So we're going to go back, and I'll leave it here. So across the top, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this has 13 courses that we've ended up wanting to map for our organizational development leadership. Each one of these ended up needing to be in the curriculum in order for our students to achieve the learning outcomes that we wanted them to achieve. On the left-hand side are the 7 that we made the decision on. So the first one is that students will demonstrate their understanding of major concepts, theoretical perspectives, empirical findings, historical trends in leadership and management. And you can see in some of the courses it is introduced, and we ended up looking at, for example, our SOCH 330 course. Our SOCH 330 course talks about 4 different lenses of how to look at structures and organizations. And we figured that ended up being really important. Anthropology gives a very different tune about how organizations and what happens within organizations. GP 204, which is a government and politics course, talks about it more as the global historical trends that occur within that. We made a decision very definitively that it wasn't critical that those were necessarily demonstrated at the end. Okay? In other words, we didn't have to have a document that would do it. Through testing and through some of the other methods, it could be emphasized in better ways. But we made a decision. We weren't going to give the students a final test that said, okay, you can do this. That wasn't important for us. Okay, students will have a working knowledge of group dynamics. Okay? And so you can see that we introduce it, and it's also being reinforced in some of the other things. Students will analyze organizational effectiveness. Again, introduced, emphasized, and reinforced in different courses. And through the 7, you can see. Now, the one that we felt was really important that they demonstrated was number 6. Because when we looked at our organizational development leadership course and we said, well, how does this program for our undergraduates, for those adults that are coming back, how do we want to demonstrate our value to them and our difference between LaSalle and Newman and everybody else that has it? And we said what we want them to be able to do is to address a significant problem or theme from a multicultural aspect and understand that, okay, and be able to write about it, because that's who Widener is. That's what we're all about. And that's what we cared most about. And you can see that that's a trend that goes through all the courses, because that's how important that one was. And in fact, their capstone project has to have that in it. Okay? So in each one of these courses, we've made decisions on what we're going to integrate, what we're going to introduce, what we're emphasizing, and what we're doing. I cannot begin to tell you how difficult this was initially.